Before the game on Wednesday night against the Dallas Stars, Brendan Dillon was honored for playing in his 1,000th game on Monday. That came against Columbus. The Devils hoping to use some of that emotion to find the winning ways after dropping their last two here at home. But unfortunately, that was not to be, as the Devils were shut out by a score of 3-0 by the Dallas Stars. So the Devils have one more game on this homestand. It'll be Friday night against Vegas, and the pregame show begins our coverage at 6:50. We'll hear in just a moment from head coach Sheldon Keefe. We'll get reaction from the Devils dressing room, but first let's start with a look back and a listen back at some of the highlights of tonight's game. Devils got off to a pretty good start. They outshot Dallas 8-6 in the first. It was an even game, no defensive breakdowns. They had some chances, but Timo Meier's been really, really hot for the Devils. So he'd like to have this one back. Here's a shot from the blue line that deflects to the corner. Devils pick it up at center ice. They move across. Here's Hischier. High slot for Meier, and he misses the one-timer. He sends it wide past the far post. He hasn't been missing lately, Chico, but his point-scoring streak ends at 6 tonight.
And I think, Matty, that's why you were surprised. I could hear it in your voice that he missed the net because he's been so hot. But that's scoring and that's hockey, and, you know, you get the feel going. But when it turns, and I'm not saying it has, but I thought tonight he had two good chances. That was one of them, that he could have put it in the net, but he didn't.
The best chance in the first period, and perhaps the best chance in the game, belonged to two Devils on the fourth line. And unfortunately, the puck didn't bounce the Devils' way. Off the draw, puck dug out by Luke Hughes. Again, tonight he's paired with Brendan Dillon. A little change by Sheldon Keefe. Lamico is stopped. Oh, my, so is Glendening. Two guys looking for their first goals of the season, and they couldn't put it home. Lamico was able to get behind the Dallas defense.
And that's why I was talking when Matty was trying to describe it. It didn't look like much happening, and then all of a sudden, Lamico gets it. He's right in the center, and Andre makes a good save, but he's tight. But the puck, if you're looking at him, goes to the right. And Glendening's all alone. I know he hasn't scored much, but I said it, Matty, if he just angles his stick back and chops at it, it's going to go over the pad. The pad is 12 inches unless they're cheating, and the goalies wouldn't cheat. But it's 12 inches, and he needed to get it 13, and the Devils would have been ahead.
Glendening without a goal now in 48 games, so never known as a goal scorer, but has been stymied in his first season with the Devils. 27 of those games being played in a Devil sweater, and Lamico has not scored this season, tonight playing his 15th game. So you need some of that scoring with Jack Hughes out, and on a night when neither Nico Hischier nor Timo Meier score, and Jesper Bratt doesn't pick up an assist. In fact, he wound up getting moved off that line, and we'll see. We'll hear from Sheldon Keefe whether that was just to generate offense or he didn't like something he saw or didn't see from Jesper Bratt. But at any rate, if the top guys can't do it one night, somebody else has got to find the way. And those guys had a chance, Glendening and Lamico, but no.
Well, that's what Matty and I talked about before the show. If they had done it, we would have sounded just like brilliant, you know, and because we know the Devils do need secondary scoring from those lines, and we were hopeful tonight, but they came close, but again, nothing went in the net.
Jacob Markstrom did his best to keep things at bay. We go into the second period. Dallas came into the game the third highest scoring team in the National Hockey League, so a good job by Markey keeping it scoreless after one, but he couldn't keep the floodgates from opening when Miro Heiskanen scored a fortunate goal. Robertson shot deflected away by Siegenthaler. Robertson sixth in the league in scoring. Here's a chance they score. It's Heiskanen from the far circle, and Dallas strikes first. It's 1-0. Heiskanen, one of the leading scorers among defensemen in the National Hockey League. He had a lot of help, though, didn't he?
It was goalie interference, Matty. It was definite goalie interference. Unfortunately, it was Siegenthaler, a teammate of Markstrom, trying to get to the other side to help. And Markstrom coming out to challenge. They ran into each other, and he kind of was screening Markstrom where Markey didn't see the shot at all. Just kind of a summation of the bad breaks that some of the the Devils are having now.
Goal came at 11:34. Heiskanen's fourth. Rope Hintz, Jamie Benn with the assists. And Dallas had the only goal they would need, but they were not done in the period. The big scorer, and they've got a few, but the biggest, he is their leading scorer, is Jason Robertson, added to his total tonight. Now Robertson out high in front of the Dallas bench. Gives it off to Benn. Drops it back to Robertson. He's along the near wall. Out high it goes. A centering try down low, and Robertson buries it. And he got a step on Paul Cotter. It was a backdoor play and an easy put home for his 17th goal of the season.
Yeah, and just let me say, folks, if Robertson's just going up the ice on a rush and Cotter's with the Matty, he'll stay with him. But when you're kind of in the defensive zone, you're looking around who's got what. But Robertson comes off the boards, if you're looking at the left boards, with speed. And he gets, just like you said, that step on Paul Cotter, and he's reaching and reaching. He's got part of a stick, but not enough. And Robertson's so hungry at all times around the net. He sees this is a layup for him if he gets a stick on it. And he did, and it was another goal for the Stars.
Yeah, 17th of the season,
Wow.
14th in the last 13 games for
what,
Jason
really?
Robertson. Yeah.
Whoa.
So he has been the man to lead the way offensively, but has had help for Dallas. So it's 2-0 going into the third, and usually it's a goal or a save, maybe a big hit that we call the play of the game. But maybe this is the play that kind of sums up the little malaise the Devils find themselves in. We'll call this the play of the game. Brought to you by Prudential, the Devils' official financial services partner. Palat now for Nason. He's checked on the play. Foxa can't clear. Palat with it. Drops it back to Brett. Makes a move on Foxa. He's in deep. Fans on the pass. It comes behind the net to Palat. Gives it off Nimitz. The one-timer. He breaks his stick. Oh, my. And the puck is cleared, and that'll do it. So the Devils with a power play. 2 tonight. No shots. There, a fan, a broken stick. The play of the game brought to you by Prudential.
Hey, that's why Matty's the best. These play of the games, it's not the obvious, but a broken stick is the play of the game because it summed everything up. And, Nemec was getting open, he is shooting the one-timer terrific. But on that one, the stick went farther than the puck because the stick broke. But just another indication right now that the Devils got to stay with it because nothing is coming easy.
Nope, and that came early enough in the third where should Bratt not fan, should Nemitz not break his stick, should the puck go in the back of the net, shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? If a bus has wings, it'd be a plane, but it didn't happen, and on those small turns, it was 2-0. It stayed 2-0. Could have been 2-1. Who knows what might have changed? But nothing changed. The scoreboard didn't change, and that benefited Dallas.
And the other thing, psychologically, folks, I've been there. Both teams are seeing it. And the Dallas Stars are saying, hey, we're getting all the breaks. Nothing's going right for them. And unfortunately, the Devils are breathing and saying, oh, come on. Can't we get a break? You know what I mean? Psychologically, both teams are seeing what's happening, and that wasn't good for the Devils tonight.
Few minutes after that missed opportunity on the power play, the final goal of the night was scored as Dallas wins 3-0. Siegenthaler works it to the blue line. Lindell with a wrister, knocked down, it's loose, they score.
Rantanen.
And it's 3-0 Dallas.
Yeah.
And the comeback is more difficult. 12th goal of the season for Mikko Rantanen. Lindell with the second assist of the game. Miro Heiskanen with the secondary assist. And yeah, we both are like, knock down, score. You're like, yeah, Rantanen. I mean, it was just that kind of a night. And we looked at the replay. You wondered initially, did Markey just not handle that shot out high with the glove and make the save? But it might have been tipped. It looked like it could have been tipped by Rantanen, and the puck dropped in perfect position for him.
Yeah, and even if he didn't quite tip it, that stick going right in front of his eyeballs, Markey's eyes kind of confused him a little. And then it hit this glove, but if it goes to the other side, if you're looking at Markey, if it goes to the left side, no goal. But it goes down, through his legs, out the back, Rantanen's gotten loose now from Nico Hischier, who's trying to do a good job of tying him up, and he's got like a 2-foot push in the net goal, and that's just the way it went, I guess.
So the Devils lose by a score of 3-0. We'll be hearing from head coach Sheldon Keefe in just a moment. First, why don't we check in with Dawson Mercer?
We threw something at them tonight early on. It was a little deflating. They didn't get rewarded for it.
Yeah, we came out fast, had those chances. Obviously, it'd be nice for those to go in and get a good start, but we had energy, and like I said, too bad we didn't get one behind the goalie there.
That said, when things aren't going your way, do you have to go to the net more?
Well, we had lots of shots. Would like to get some more secondary opportunities off those, but we were creating opportunities, and at the end of the day, you got to score to win, so we got to find a way.
You talk about getting those shots, but do you think that maybe Ottinger just like he could see too much tonight?
Yeah, well, obviously if he's seeing the puck, he can stop him pretty good, but we tried to create some opportunities in the high ice, make plays, and try to generate chances that way, and obviously, like I said, just secondary opportunities would definitely help.
Especially when you get an opportunity on a power play, you got to cash in, especially if you're not scoring 5-on-5, right?
Yeah, that's when we go out there. We obviously want to change the momentum, try to get that opportunity, and tonight we didn't get that done. We didn't put one in.
It's that simple. They didn't put one in. Dawson Mercer had 2 shots tonight. The Devils were led by 4 from Jesper Bratt and 4 from Jonas Siegenthaler. Let's check in with head coach Sheldon Keefe.
They weren't in abundance, but there's some real good looks there that you got to find a way to get control of the game. You got to get one to go in for you. And I didn't mind our second period either. It wasn't really until they scored. Once they scored, I didn't like how we were after that. We were essentially lifeless, I thought. So yeah, we had our looks, didn't make good on them. We made a couple mistakes in the second period, and their best players, made us pay for them as they did in the third again. So that ultimately is the difference.
Obviously, that's a quality opponent, but did they keep you on the perimeter tonight? Is that the idea that they just keep you guys outside?
Yeah, again, I think in the first period, I thought we were fine. And early in the second, like when we had our O-zones, I thought we were fine in that regard. I thought they defended the neutral zone really well for most of the game, especially once they got the lead. They were pretty content to just jam it up, and our best people just didn't have it tonight either. They didn't have great nights, so their best guys are all over the score sheet tonight, and ours didn't have their best, so we need other people to step up and find a way, and we just didn't have it.
Talk about some of your best people who are really on the power play as well. It looked maybe a little bit disjointed, that second one in particular. What are you seeing right now from the mix of players?
Well, power play scored 2 goals last game, I think. So I think if you were asking me specifically about today, I would say it's a reflection of the rest of our game. We just didn't have it. Didn't have offensive execution was really poor here today. And the power, if it's poor at 5-on-5, when you get on the power play, it's going to look even worse. So now you got more time than you think, and I think that just amplified our issues when we had our power play. So. Yeah, it's disappointing, particularly that we just didn't have any real pushback. You're still there at 1-0. You're certainly there, but even at 2-0, I mean, you get one and you got an opportunity. So that part of it was disappointing.
Where does that sort of need to come from, like that pushback, right? Like when you're not seeing it, like what has to happen there, right? Yeah,
you'd like to see something happen. Whether it's just a big shift, a big momentum swing. Sometimes it's a hit, it's a fight, it's a goal, it's something. You need something to spark the group. Coach can only bark so much. The other team didn't make it easy on us, especially once they got the lead, and we didn't seem to have the juice to go and earn it.
Is that how you get more out of some of your depth guys? You mentioned your top guys couldn't get on the score sheet. We talked about how good Nico and Timo have been last game. But how do you get more from your depth here?
Yeah, you just need some energy. I mean, in fact, probably our best scoring chance of the game came from Lamico and Glendening at the end of the first period there. And In fact, I think we've been getting good shifts from those guys in the last few games. So for them, you're looking for momentum. You're looking for other guys to step up and get some pucks to the net and look to create some things. But again, we just didn't have a lot of juice tonight. So it's tough.
Earlier this season, you talked about the challenge of unlocking Hamilton's full potential. Does it feel like that's still a work in progress, and how can shaking up pairings out of necessity sometimes impact not just him but any defenseman's?
Yeah, it's been tough. Like certainly, the defense is, you take Pesce out of the mix as we talked about, and all of a sudden guys are slotted in different spots. But then Dougie himself got out of the lineup, right, and was dealing with an injury, and I thought he was playing quite well for us at that time. And then the wind gets out of his sails, and then while that happens, you get someone like Nemec who's stepped up and really blossomed his game offensively. So now Dougie gets back in, and it's not the same environment that he left, and it's harder to get him back going, and he hasn't gotten back to that level yet. But I would say it is a work in progress to get his game back going, but it's tricky because Nemec is really feeling it offensively, and you want to kind of capitalize on that at the same time. But, I think Dougie's got more to give us for sure.
You split up Luke and Nemec tonight. Just what were you looking for in that, and what did you see from them?
It was more so just to get Dylan kind of in that top four to be able to play against. They got two very, very good lines with premier players on it, so that was really it. I think once we got down, you started to see Luke and Nemo back together a lot more as we were trying to push to get a goal. But just the fact that we felt that those two lines of theirs were going to be a lot to handle tonight, and clearly they were. Yeah, thanks.
Sheldon Keefe concluding his post-game news conference was not asked about Jesper Bratt moving, but that probably was trying to get some offense going, spread it out a little bit.
Yeah, Matty, I don't have anything to add to that because that's exactly it.
And there was, as he mentioned it, and you think about it, Nico Hischier and Timo Meier didn't have the legs the way that we've seen it, and that is going to happen through the course of any season. This season in particular, with so many games coming, you're going to have nights like that happens, and why it didn't happen to Dallas, that's the mystery of the human body. They played back-to-back. They come up with 3 points out of a possible 4, and the Devils look to find a winning side on Friday.
And, you can say they didn't have it, but if somebody else had scored, it's like in a run or if you're playing tennis just casually, something might spark you to get more energy. But when you keep getting shut down, and Dallas was doing a great job, and nobody else is scoring, and then you talked about Timo Meier having a good chance, and he shot it wide. It's those things that just kind of wear you down. But I'm just not looking to that line. Like, let's talk about the power play, Matty. Okay, 2 power plays, no goals, that's fine. But how about the guys saying, okay, listen, let's move it around. We need a break. Let's shoot the puck. Let's try to get 3 shots a power play. Because you got to talk about it where if you just keep passing it around and around the perimeter, the defenders will say, that's okay. We don't care about that. And so I'm just saying some of the things that maybe you and I and fans and even the players might think back to now are, why didn't we do something just a little bit unusual? Like hitting the net, shooting lots of puck. But they tried to. And then someone will say, well, Chico, they did try to, but how many did they have blocked?
23.
See? That's what I mean. I don't think these players aren't thinking. They're very wise. But I don't know why. Players don't score. I don't know why shots go wide, and I don't know why shots are blocked as much as they are. But tonight, that all came into play, and that's why the Devils had a goose egg on their side of the scoreboard.
6 Timo Meier shots were blocked. He's only credited with 1 shot on goal. 5 Luke Hughes tries were blocked. Wow. He was credited with 2 shots on goal. And then throw in 14 missed shots on the Devils slate. 3 by Timo Meier, 2 by Kritsu, Galamico, and Dawson Mercer. And so 31 shots on goal, 23 were blocked, 14 missed the target. It's not like they didn't have the puck in Dallas's end. Dallas wound up with, 27 shots, then 9 were blocked and 8 missed at 17-44. Devils 68.
See? I don't think the Devils played that poorly. I think they had good puck control at times in Dallas's end. They were good along the boards. But it's like everything in life. You're working hard, but you're looking for something that gives you the encouragement that this is going to get better. Yeah, this is going to give me confidence. And tonight, every shot didn't go in the net. I just didn't think they had any. Like, they were playing kind of like a nice game, but they needed something to take them to the next level. Wasn't that they were playing bad? And they got nothing. And even Sheldon Keefe said, could have been a fight, could have been a goal, could have been something, but it was actually nothing. And so Devils just, I don't say they went away and just, walked away and just let it happen. I just think they got discouraged by the middle of the third period.
And they lose tonight by a score of 3-0. Back in action on Friday against Vegas, a game that you'll hear here on the Devils Hockey Network.